Alright, here we go. Harris Bridge, Mideast Harescramble Association. I'm in Vet C, about 33 people in my row. I got a really bad start and end up back of the pack. I hate starting like this and getting way back because then you gotta fight through everybody. I did pretty good in this race, just pushing my way through, especially early, because getting into the woods with this many people, it was just going to be a fight the whole time anyway, so it was better for me to feel like I was up front a little bit where I could escape the group. This little land bridge was real slick, and you can see somebody just tucks a wheel and takes a dive. We expected it to be really, really slick for the whole race because it had rained the night before, and it was funny because it rained Saturday. It was really nice Sunday, like 65 and sunny all day long, and then on Monday it rained again. So we caught a good window of time for it not to be sunny, or not to be bad weather. And actually by the pro race there was so much, it dried out so much that this upper section and probably some of the other open sections were dusty, which is not anything anybody expected. Everybody's expected to come into this thing being a full mudder. I think by this point in the race I had made it from mid-pack to about 6th place. You can see here in the wood sections how greasy it really is. This is all first lap, so you're going to get a good sense of how slick it was for the first couple laps. As the race progressed, you get 2nd, 3rd, 4th laps, like I did at 4th lap, that it was so beat in that you could really have established lines and ruts. And like the mud in the early laps were causing so many problems with stuff like this, where you come into a gully, it was just deep, and so you had to hope you could keep your wheels straight and not shoot off into the woods. You watch my front end, we hear about dive, just full slide. That could have been bad, but you just keep under power and move forward, and thankfully it straightened itself out. This is a good indication of what the whole course was going to be like. You can see how wide everything was, and it was a lot of this throughout this whole course. There's an option, a lot of places to pass, a lot of places to get good movement. There were 2 or 3 good lines through every section as the race progressed, and then you could really get some speed about you. The only thing you had to worry about was stuff like this, where you'd hit a big root and slide out, and there were a couple of those, just where you'd expect them. They're always going to be right underneath a tree inside a turn, but they're just something that you'd have to watch out for. This was another thing, you get into a section like this where you feel like you're carrying some speed, and then somebody gets stuck in a rut or just makes a mistake, and then they're down in front of you. And being so slick in the early laps, you had to worry about being able to stop in time. Guy in front of me is Cody McFall. Me and him on this first lap went back and forth a little bit, and you can see we were keeping a good pace on this wide stuff. It was just easy to move really fast, and then as it got more and more beat in, and as the lines and ruts established themselves, and you could really rail because you could kind of flow back and forth from berm to berm. We shoot out of the woods into an open section, and the trails are wide, and then you come out to these open sections and they're just incredibly fast. This was not one of the faster sections. This was like a moguls or something for 4-wheelers, is what I guess, and it was a good change of pace. It broke up the come out of the woods and go real fast sections that a lot of this course had. Finally make a move on Cody. The downhill section, just keep on accelerating, move down, but you got to be careful, especially in the early laps with coming into a turn, not being set up with a berm. You'll blow out that corner and kind of just shoot yourself into the woods or tuck your front end. And you can see how shiny and slick everything looks. It's just clay, so you're gonna slide. And the thing that I'm glad I did was I changed from my normal tire, my cheater, to AT81 regular knobby, and I feel like it really did help me with grip and everything in the mud. This is one of those open sections. You come out of the woods, you hit a really fast open section. There were a couple of these where it was like, just pin it and hold on, and as long as you can commit to doing it, you can beat out somebody else. And later on in the race, there's a section past mile marker 4 where you would come out of a turn, and it was just a straight shot for, 1/8 of a mile, just a drag race with whoever you were near. It was a lot of fun, and this is one of those sections, just straight, fast, pretty smooth. So as long as you were willing to commit to pinning it, you could just do it and hold on. Looking over my shoulder and see a couple people were back there behind me. The passing situation was never very difficult because I always wanted to do it safely because I didn't want to make somebody come in hot on somebody and then make them panic and tuck a wheel. But the places you could pass, there was so much wide trail that you could do stuff like this, and this actually messed me up because that stuff off of the trail isn't ridden, and so it's kind of soft. But you could make good passes even in the stuff that, this was about as tight as it got for the whole trail, and even here I could make a good clean pass without even worrying about bumping into somebody. Make a mistake, almost get past. The thing I've said before is that I'm a good rabbit. I get somebody behind me, I know they're there, and just try and take off, but it bites me here because I do exactly what I said was going to happen. I come to a turn, don't check the berm, just kind of blow it out and slide, and then I'll lose 2 places. This section of rocks was a part of a power line trail, so you come up this hill and these rocks are about the size of golf balls. They get thrown at you. I actually cracked my GoPro Session front glass with one of those rocks hitting my helmet. You come through this muddy section of woods and you come down a hill and into another section of the rocks, and you always give the person in front of you a little bit of leeway because if you're right on top of them, you're just getting pelted with these golf balls, and it's, even with all the gear on, it's still just painful. You can see how fast this whole course was. It was you never really let off. I did 4 laps, like I said, and it was a 10-mile course, and that means, you're doing 40 miles. And 40 miles of race speed on this 300 is, I'm sucking through a whole tank of gas. And so I'm glad that I had Josh there. He was spectating for this race and would actually help me with the gas stop. I think I only stopped for, 10 seconds or something like that. Got a gallon of gas and then got to take off again. It was sections like this where you could just drag race all the way down as far as you were willing to commit. There's a long way that you could just pin it and hold on, and I think here I'm in 4th or 5th, just wide open. And later on in the races I wasn't braking until about here, and then you could come in and slide. There's a good berm set up. You see me and Robert here come together just for a little, let you know I'm here. A couple good log crossings that they had set up, and by the later laps they turned into jumps. This was a low section down by a creek. You can see mud's still getting to people. This is mile 5 through about 7 was what this was. It was just wide, but it was all very, very slick, and it stayed slick for about the entirety of the race. There was no point where that mud section really turned into anything other than mud. It never really tacked up, it never really got much better, and then it just kind of got whooped out. So out of the whole course, you can 2 out of 10 miles, if only 2 of it's bad, it's not bad at all for a race. It was one of those sections where if you're in the mud, it's better to ride a little slower instead of crashing, because you're going to expend less energy doing a slower ride. You're not moving as fast, of course, but you're going to wear yourself out crashing and picking your bike up all the time. So it's better for me to just slow down a little bit and make methodical choices about where I'm going to go and how I'm going to choose my lines, and then that way I can not wear myself out picking my bike up. This is about the longest sustained uphill. It was never really difficult other than a couple of routes that got really exposed, and you would see people bounce off into the woods somewhere, and then nobody really got thrown off that bad. After that uphill, you'd come over this little crest, and then you'd see all these people. Every time you're in a race and you see a whole bunch of people, there is some interesting stuff about to happen. It's usually a hill climb or some kind of hard obstacle that's jamming people up, and all the spectators want to watch the show. So this was a pretty substantial hill. The GoPro doesn't really do it justice, and it was 40-ish feet, relatively vertical and just slick as hell. And to the right of me was another line you had to shoot between 2 trees. I chose the middle line because it seemed the most direct. And it's just slide down, lock your wheels, hit it and turn, keep going. I never really had an issue, but buddy Jared of mine took a weird line and cut 2 trees super, super close. And it's kind of cool that he didn't crash, but it was there was an option, the trees you were supposed to go between, the ones that you weren't supposed to go between. He chose the ones you weren't supposed to split, and it paid off for him, but it was scary to watch the video. come back out on the power lines and you cut back into this creek and jump across. I like creek crossings. I wish there were more of them in races, but it's just a section I enjoy. This is more of that slower, methodical riding because I don't want to end up in a place like that. I don't want to get stuck in some mud pit, and every time you came by that section, there was somebody stuck in that hole. I saw at least 2 people call it as far as racing went for the day because they got stuck in that hole and were so exhausted from trying to get out. Short little drop into a hill, into a real fast section where once this section got really beat in, it was really flowing, so you could just go berm to berm to berm and really, really get yourself a good flow and get some speed, and it was just a lot of fun. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this course. Everything about it was nice. I kind of wish there was a little more tight sections. It's something I prefer, but running ATVs, they can only have so much, tight stuff, and I think this was actually a newer course in Mideast, but I'm not entirely sure about that. There were a lot of people there. I heard numbers like 700 people signed up for just the bike divisions and like 2,500 people signed up overall. There was a scoring issue, which is kind of annoying for me. I finished the race and the scoring tent showed first place, which is I was all pumped about being first place. But when I went up to look at the scoring sheet, they had shorted me a lap and put me in like 28th. So after some contention and stuff, I finally got it came out, they said something about me being in 6th, so I'm somewhere between 1st and 28th place at this race. I'm not really sure. Hopefully they get the scoring thing set up and fixed by the next race. But overall, it was a great course. I had a lot of fun. Looking forward to the next one. See you guys there. Peace.